Namaste dosto, namaste friends, namaste Gaurav, namaste Ramit. Welcome to Asian Adventures and WTI webinar. Wonderful to see you all. Uh, welcome Endaji. Good to see you again. We've got other participants coming in. We've got Brian here. How are you, my friend Brian? After a long time. Shadaji, Shrishti, Hariji, Amit Kumar. Welcome. We've got people signing up now, and there are people who are joining in, which is, our series of webinars on conservation have restarted after a long pause. That was because I was away to Kerala on my spiritual journey, and I'm finally back. And it's wonderful to get restarted. Gaurav has been holding fort in the middle, and he's been doing a fantastic job. Gaurav Nalkur is my colleague from Asian Adventures, and he lives in Pune. So, friends, this webinar is dedicated to the conservation work which is being done by WTI Wildlife Trust of India. And Ramit at WTI is spearheading this project, which is so heartening, which is so wonderful, the kind of work that he's putting in. And I want his work to gain momentum with the masses, with the conservation community, with people who are in tune with nature and ecotourism, and appreciate this world of conservation. So friends, quickly I will introduce myself, especially to those who don't know me or who are here for the first time. I am Mohit Agarwal. Professionally, I'm an experiential ecotourism specialist. I help people travel to some wonderful places in Asia. I'm on the board of Asian Ecotourism Network, and I've been trained and certified by GSTC in sustainable tourism. I'm the founder of Asian Adventures, a 28-year-old travel outfit. It is the largest and number one bird watching tour company in India. I'm also the founder of Natty Netter. It's an eco-centric digital marketing company. Asian Adventures is on a large mission to help Asian elephants with their corridors with WTI, free the Himalayas of plastic waste, and help small wildlife NGOs. And also my personal interest is to keep the originality alive of the ancient Himalayan temples. So that was a bit about me. The reason we're doing these webinars is because whatever needs attention in conservation, in ecotourism, should be talked about to my audience. So I'll hand over the mic to Gaurav. Gaurav, you go ahead, introduce yourself, introduce Ramit, and take on from here. And at the end of it, I will make my pitch.
Thanks a lot, Mohit. My name is Gaurav Nalkur. I'm currently working at Asian Adventures as a sustainability coordinator. I'm training to be an ecotourism expert. I'm very passionate about ecotourism and sustainable tourism. And I'm an avid bird watcher, and I especially love introducing children and first-time bird watchers to the wonderful world of birds. And one of my dreams is to see tourism and wildlife tourism become a fantastic and very constructive tool for wildlife awareness and conservation. I'll just introduce Ramit, who will be making his presentation today. Ramit's interests in conservation started from camps he attended at a young age. He joined the Wildlife Trust of India in 2010, and after a short while working on the Kannur Kandal project, I'm sorry if I've mispronounced that, which focuses on conservation of threatened mangrove forests of Kerala. His work is based in Kannur district, and this is the amazing work that he'll be talking about today. I'll hand over the mic to Ramit now. Ramit, please take over.
Uh, Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Mohit, sir, for this opportunity. And namaste to everyone who has joined here. So, Wildlife Trust of India is an organization working for the conservation of threatened habitats and endangered wildlife of India. So it has been working since 1998, and Wildlife Trust of India has been working in different landscapes to conserve different habitats. So I'm Remit. I'm from the northern part of Kerala. It's the district is known as Kannur, and we have a project on the conservation of mangroves of Kannur district of Kerala. So I'm briefly introducing you to the wonderful mangrove uh, patches of Kannur district today. So thank you all for joining, and I think we can move on to the presentation. Mohit. Yeah, thank you. So this presentation is about mangroves. So most of you must be aware of the importance of mangroves, or sometimes you must have seen mangroves. Sometimes you must have visited a few patches of mangroves in India or abroad. So though we know the importance of, many of us know the importance of mangroves, the conservation of mangroves is facing threats all across the world, and same is happening in Kerala also. The mangroves of Kerala is facing severe threats from various activities. So that is why, to me, this project is important. To all of us, this project is important because the mangroves of Kerala is facing severe threat due to various factors. So we'll let us know what is mangroves, and let us look at the basics of what is mangroves. Next. So mangroves are special ecosystems. They are special forests. They are special trees because they are certain adaptations to its environment. So what is its environment? The mangrove forests, and mangrove trees, or the ecosystem is found in the intertidal zones. They are found in the intertidal zones, and they are the trees that can tolerate salinity. So it has adaptations for marshy soils where it can be seen. So this is a kind of ecosystem. This is a kind of trees where no other trees can survive. So what makes them survive in this harsh environment is, like, there are some adaptations for these mangroves. So where do we find them globally? When we look at the distribution of these mangroves across the globe, it is, as you can see in this slide, the red patches are the distribution ranges of the mangroves across the globe, and they are found in the tropical and subtropical regions of the earth. So not in the they are not in the polar regions. They are found in the tropical and subtropical regions of the world, and along the intertidal zones of the world. And what makes them special is they have these adaptations to survive in this environment. So all of us know that we are all people who grow some or other trees or plants. So what you can think about, if somebody is watering, like putting saline water into their garden plants daily, eventually it will die. Why? Because these our garden plants do not have any adaptation to survive in the saline environment. But mangroves, unlike all other species present in the world, is adapted to these saline conditions. They have some halophytic adaptations called salt excretory glands. As you can see in this picture, the bottom left picture, you can see leaves. On the leaves, you can see some white spots. They are crystals of salt excreted by these leaves. So what are they like? They live in this saline environment, saline water, so their roots absorb the salinity and it will accumulate in the body, and if the salinity increases in the body, the trees will perish. So in order to survive, the leaves have some special salt excretory glands, and these salt excretory glands excrete the salt, and that is how they can survive. Some of the mangrove trees use this technique, and some other species has some adaptations in the roots called salt exclusion. That is, the roots selectively permits the fresh water into its roots, and that is how some of these trees can survive. And in some other plants of these mangroves has vacuoles to accumulate salt in its vacuoles, and thus avoiding the salt issues. So these are the halophytic adaptations. Mangroves need many other adaptations to survive. They are like they can be seen in very clay soil with a lot of wave action. Daily wave action will be there. There will be fluctual inundations, like two high tides and two low tides will be there in every mangrove ecosystem. So these tides and clay soil will be very difficult for the trees to establish. So they are having some different adaptations of roots. Many of you may be knowing, like the pneumatophores or breathing roots, and stilt roots, and knee roots, and buttress roots. And so these roots will be having two different functions. One is to establish the plant, or to anchor the plant in this soil, and it also has, these roots also has breathing ability, because the roots will have some pores called stomatas and lenticels, and these lenticels can take in the air from the atmosphere, and that air will take oxygen into the roots. So why this adaptation is because the mangrove ecosystem, the soil has less oxygen, and so to survive, these roots needs oxygen, and to get oxygen, some roots will come out of the water, and it will stay like pencils out of the water, and through these roots, the roots can take oxygen inside. So that is how the morphological adaptations are. And there are other adaptations also, because mangroves give birth to its seedlings. This is like mammals. And how it is? The seeds, when it is ready in the mother plant itself, it will germinate from the mother plant. Then only this seed will fall from the mother tree. So this is like we humans and other mammals give birth to its babies. So that is how the mangrove germination happens. So it germinates from the mother tree itself, and these seeds are called viviparous or cryptoviviparous seeds. And this adaptation is important because germination is very difficult in the saline water and saline soil with less oxygen or little oxygen. So that is why only mangroves can survive in this land and sea interface. So that is why mangroves are important, and there are many other factors governing mangroves. These are environmental factors or climatic factors are there. The optimal temperature for mangrove ecosystem is 20 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, and they grow in high rainfall areas with optimum rainfall as 1400 to 2000 mm, and it lives in high humidity and high wind velocity areas. And as many of you may know, there are the mangroves are a very important ecosystem in many ways, and one of the major thing about mangroves is we know about the importance of mangroves since 2004, when the earth faced this tsunami. So during tsunami, lakhs of people died, and many of our buildings were lost and all happened. But the impact of tsunami were least affected in mangrove areas. This was evident in Pichavaram, Bidharkaniga, in Sri Lanka, and in Thailand also. In areas where mangroves were there, the impact of the tsunami was very less, because the mangrove stands, when the water hits, when tsunami hits the mangroves, the force of the tsunami gets reduced by the mangrove stands, and the impact on the land will be very less. So this is important for us, because when we consider like the last Amphan cyclone, when it hits the Sundarban areas, there was no effect. There was very less effect on the land because of the mangroves. So if mangroves are not there, the impact of these cyclones and tsunamis will be much large. And the second thing is, it helps prevent the entry of saline water into mainland, because the saline water in the sea enters the backwaters and the rivers through the high tides. You know that. And I'm showing this map on the top. This is an island. This is a small island where this green patch is mangroves, and all these water surrounding is saline water. This island is just 2 kilometers away from the sea. This is in Kannur district of Kerala, and in the middle of this island, you get fresh water. This is because the saline water is not allowed to enter and mix with the fresh water, because of the sediments of the mangrove ecosystem and the roots and the ecosystem. That is how the mainland gets fresh water. So when we lose the mangroves, this saline water intrusion into the mainland will increase, and the saline water mixes with the freshwater aquifers, and the coastal communities will be affected. And another importance is the mangrove ecosystem acts as the nursery and feeding grounds of fishes. As you know, the water of the rivers and the sea mixes in the mangrove ecosystem, and the fishes from sea and fishes from the river and the backwater comes and lay their eggs in the mangroves, and they act as the nursery and feeding grounds for the fishlings. And the mangrove acts as a safe haven for the fishlings, because larger fishes and other predators cannot enter into the root system of the mangroves, where these fishlings can be seen. So, and another thing is the fisheries of the world. Around 80% of the fish catches is dependent on mangroves, because it provides the nursery grounds and feeding grounds. And another importance of mangroves are the local communities use it for various purposes like furniture, fuel wood, tannin, cattle feed, and many other things are derived out of mangroves. And the mangroves are also used in many medicines, many local medicines. Our indigenous medicines are prepared from mangroves. These are a list of the mangrove species used in the local or indigenous medicines. And another importance of mangroves is that it provides a habitat for a large number of organisms, from very small microbes to the to our tigers in Sundarbans and crab-eating macaques, mud skippers, and many other endemic, endangered, and threatened animals can be seen in the mangroves. Another importance of mangroves, now widely recognized, is the carbon sequestration power of the mangroves. You know that the global warming is because of the global warming is because of the greenhouse gases, and carbon dioxide is one of the major factor for that. So mangroves, all plants can all plants absorbs this carbon dioxide and makes, through its photosynthesis, they store it in their body and the ecosystem, and that is how the trees and forests are important in carbon sequestration. So what makes mangrove special is the carbon sequestration power, or the carbon absorption power and sequestration power of mangroves is much more than other tropical forests in the world. So 1 hectare mangroves on an average stores 150 tons of carbon. So when we are conserving a hectare of mangroves, we are helping reduce the impact of the global warming. So in that way, this is very important, and so these are the main importance of mangroves. And when we look at the global status of mangroves, around 30% of these mangroves are seen in Indonesia, and 10% is seen in Brazil, 8% is seen in Australia, and considering India, we have around 3% of the world mangrove cover. And when we look at the distribution of mangroves in India, so as I told you, like, this is on the coast. So all across the coast, where the fresh water mixes with the seawater, we can see mangroves. That is the natural distribution of mangroves across India and everywhere. So since we are in the tropical region, all across our coast, we can see mangroves where the rivers join the sea. So we can see a lot of mangroves in the deltas. So whenever these large deltas, so there we can see larger mangrove areas. So as you all know, the largest mangrove area is Sundarbans. So West Bengal has the largest chunk of mangrove forest in India, and Sundarbans, which is spread across Bangladesh and West Bengal, is the largest mangrove continuous mangrove patch in the world. So in India, you can see larger mangrove patches in the east coast, because all our larger rivers are in the east coast. So the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta is the Sundarbans, and then Krishna you have, Godavari you have, Kaveri you have. So in all these areas, we have large mangrove areas like Bidharkaniga, Pichavaram in Tamil Nadu, and we have mangroves in Gulf of Kutch and the Gujarat part, and Andaman and Nicobar Dube also we have large chunk of mangroves. And this is the recent estimate of the mangroves in India. We have around 4,900 square kilometer of mangroves in India, and West Bengal has 2,114 square kilometer of mangroves. That is 42% of mangroves in West Bengal, 23% in Gujarat. Andaman Nicobar Island has 12%. Looking at the end is Kerala with just 9 square kilometer. That is just 0.2% of the total share of mangroves of India. So this is as per the report of the Forest Survey of India. And when we look at the mangrove distribution in Kerala, though the report of Forest Survey of India shows 9 square kilometer only, considering the small patches of mangroves in Kerala, the total extent is 21 square kilometer. You will be like shocked to hear one more thing, like this was not like this earlier. The historical extent of mangroves in Kerala was 700 square kilometer. So now our mangrove extent is just 21 square kilometer from 700 square kilometer. That is less than 5% of the historical extent of mangroves in Kerala. So we have 18 true mangrove species. There are 2 different types of mangroves in the mangrove ecosystem. And this 18 true mangrove species are found in Kerala along its 41 west flowing rivers, estuaries, and backwaters. The backwaters of Kerala will be familiar to all of you. And this is the map showing the bits and patches of mangroves in Kerala. And I should also add one thing. The largest chunk of mangroves of Kerala is in the northern district of Kannur. And these, I'm just showing a few true mangrove species of the ecosystem. What is the difference between true mangroves and mangrove associates? I should tell now that the true mangroves are the species of trees which has the these adaptations to survive in the saline environment, and these are the typical tree species available in the mangrove ecosystem. Across the world, globally, there are only 73 true mangrove species available. Around some others say 80 species. So roughly 70 to 80 species of true mangroves available in the earth. And out of that, around 36 species is available in India. And in Kerala, we have 18 species of true mangroves. And these are some common species available in Kerala: Rhizophora mucronata, Bruguera cylindrica, Cantalia candel. This kid is on the tree, and this shows the how it can like withstand the weight of the skid and in the loose soil. So these are its. On the right side, you can see the propagule or the seed. This is the one I told, like these give birth to seedlings. So from this portion, the seeds will germinate inside, and after germination, these seeds will fall and they will grow into new trees. And this is another species called Abyssinia Officinalis. This is called Aegiceras corniculatum. This is Soneratia casualaris. This is Soneratia alba. These are some common species found. And these are Exocaria agalocha. And this species, you can see a lot of roots. So I told you about the roots. You will get a lot of roots in the mangrove ecosystem. When you dig with a small thing, you cannot miss a root, because that is thickly packed roots will be available in the mangrove ecosystem. This is important to anchor the tree in this loose soil. And these roots in Kerala, this root is used to make cork for these bottles. So this is used culturally, and the indigenous method of storing things. This root is used as cork. Even now, in our secured area also, people from the local community come and collect these roots and make it into these wonderful corks. This is another species of mangroves. This is called Akandas, and this is culturally used in our local festivals also. And there are some mangrove associate species which are present in the ecosystem. These are wonderful trees, wonderful species. These can live in both saline and freshwater regions, but their adaptations are less compared to the true mangrove species. These are some wonderful species. This is called Morinda citrifolia. This is a mangrove associate, and this fruit is used to make the syrup called noni, which may be available in your near medical shops also. This is used as an antioxidant. And there are some mangrove associates like these grasses are there. These are again used to make many artifacts. And these are like, when we look at the mangrove food web, you know, different ecosystems are there and the food webs are different in each ecosystems. And the mangroves are very special because here the mangrove food web is dependent on the detritus. The basic substratum is detritus, because the detritus is formed from the fallen leaves and twigs of the mangrove trees. The mangrove trees, from the photosynthesis, they produce the produce the food, and once these leaves and twigs are fallen, these are made into smaller leaves by the crabs and all, and then it becomes detritus and peats. And from the detritus, there are many smaller fauna which feeds on these detritus. As you can see in this figure, prawns, crabs, bivalves, marine worms, and all feed on these detritus, and these worms are fed like used by the birds, and the prawns are used by the birds, and the marine worms and crabs will be eaten by the fishes. The small fishes will be eaten by the large fishes, and like this the food web grows. So in this food web, you can see a lot of wide range of fauna, wide range of animals, from very small microbes to the large tigers and some spotted deers and crab-eating macaques and all. So the mangrove food web, you can see like this. There are so many species dependent on this, and human beings also are dependent on this mangrove food web. They feed on the fish, crabs, and prawns. And so looking at the diversity, you can see a lot of polychaete worms which will be in this soil, and you can see the adaptations of these birds because the beaks will be very long. So these birds can feed only on this soil, because they have long beaks and they will feed on the polychaete worms. So many of these birds are dependent on these polychaete worms for their survival. And telescopium is a commonly found snail in the mangrove ecosystem. There will be thousands of them in these mangroves. They will feed on the detritus and they become part of the food web, become the food for other organisms. And in every ecosystem there is keystone species. Keystone species is keystones, like keystones. If we take the keystone of the building of an arc, all the structure will collapse. So the keystone is very important. Likewise, in every ecosystem there will be one or two keystone species. So in mangrove ecosystem, these crabs are considered as keystone species because the leaves falling from the trees are cut into small pieces by these crabs. By thousands of these crabs will be there in the mangrove soil, and these will be these leaves will be cut into smaller portions, and then it is made into detritus by these crabs. So these crabs are considered as a keystone species in mangroves. So there will be many different species of crabs. So when you go to a mangrove area next time, look for these crabs. And these are fiddler crabs. So the fiddler crabs will be having one of their hands larger than the other one. These are male ones. So they will fight with each other. The males will fight with each other with these hands and fiddlers like hands, and they will attract female with their brilliant coloration also. And there are these bivalves also from the mangroves. So this abundance of species is because the productivity of the mangrove ecosystem is very high. Productivity means it can provide food for a large number of animals. So that is why you can see a lot of species and there will be abundance of them. So you can see a lot of species, and local communities are dependent on the ecosystem, and they collect food from the adjacent mangrove ecosystem. And these are some barnacles. So these barnacles will be seen in the roots of these mangroves, and they will be acting as strong barriers for the waves. And there are a lot of fishes. As I told earlier, mangroves act as nursery and feeding grounds, and you can see endemic and endemic indigenous species of fishes from the mangroves. This is the very famous Etroplus suratensis, the pearl spot fish from Kerala. So this is actually grown in mangrove areas only. So this is the state fish. So Etroplus, if mangroves are not there, this fish will go extinct. So that is the importance of mangroves. Many species are endemic to mangroves. Endemic means these species cannot grow elsewhere. So once if mangroves are lost, all those associated faunal species will be also going extinct. So there are many marine turtles which comes to mangroves and feed on mangroves, and you can see a lot of snakes as well. The snakes from the oceans will be mostly venomous, but this dog-faced water snake is a common snake in mangroves, but this is non-venomous. If you have time to come to Kerala and to visit my mangrove area, you can see a lot of these dog-faced water snake in our secured area. And so, as I told you earlier, the mangroves of Kerala has dwindled over the last 100 years, and because of that, it has actually lost a few species from Kerala. So this is one of the species that was present earlier. This saltwater crocodile, estuarine crocodile, was there in mangrove areas of Kerala, and it was lost. And there is one more species called fishing cat, which is present elsewhere in mangroves in Kerala, in India. But this fishing cat was there earlier in Kerala. Now it is nowhere seen. So fishing cat is also believed as locally extinct from Kerala. So the mangroves also act as heroneries for a lot of birds. They and many migratory birds, when they travel through the trees, through the seas, and their first refuge in the land will be these mangrove areas. So the mangrove areas are highly productive, and their soil will have a lot of polychaete worms and many other smaller fauna, like many fishes. So these migratory birds comes and feed on these mangroves, stays in mangroves, and then travel back to their other locations, and then comes back annually to the same mangrove areas. So mangroves are important in that way also, and these are some mammals seen in Kerala. This is the fishing cat I was telling earlier. Fishing cat is now locally extinct from Kerala, and this is jungle cat, which is now present. And smooth-coated otters were abundantly present across Kerala. Now its population has dwindled. It is because of hunting. For the leather bags, the high quality leather bags are made out of otters. So whenever you buy some leather and all, you have to look for which material it is made of. So if it is made of a wildlife material, don't purchase it, because many of these wildlife products will when you buy it, it is promoting the extinction of one species. And so if we are losing the otters in the ecosystem. If we are losing the otters, that will cause diseases in the fish population, because the otters are regulating the population of fishes, and it selectively eats the fishes which has diseases. So these otters are controlling the population, and it is ensuring the health of the fish populations. And another important mammal species found in mangroves is Indian fox. But this Indian fox is also going for a local extinction in Kerala. Mangroves is one of the ecosystem of this important habitat of these Indian fox in Kerala. And the other species is jackal. Jackal is commonly found in mangroves of Kerala. And whenever you go to any mangrove area, you can see a lot of flying fox roosting on the mangroves. And when you look at the global loss of mangroves, so these are very important. As I told you, these are very important ecosystems. This cannot be replaced by any other ecosystem. And if mangroves are lost, the coastal population will be more vulnerable to the climate change scenario, and the food webs will be severely affected. Our fisheries will be impacted, and many other impacts will be there. But then also we are losing the mangroves across the globe. As you can see, 19.8 million hectares of mangroves were there in 1980, and it is now dwindled to around 15 million hectares in 2001. So after that, every year we are losing around 1% of mangroves is being lost every year globally. So, and another threat is that 90% of these remaining mangroves are in the developing countries of the world, and the development is causing a lot of land reclamation is happening in mangrove areas, and land use changes are happening for different purposes. Because most of these large cities like Singapore, Jakarta, Mumbai, Calcutta is all near these mangrove areas, and so the urbanization is causing a large threat in the mangroves, and agriculture is also causing loss of mangroves. And the most important threat to the mangrove extent is aquaculture, that is the shrimp farms. The shrimps also occupy the same ecosystem, and the shrimp farmers, shrimp industry is cutting the mangrove areas and converting it into shrimp farms. And for an example, Philippines has lost half of its mangroves to shrimp farms. So similar effects are happening everywhere, and mining, oil pollution, and the changes in the freshwater flows, and many other things are causes for the global loss of mangroves. And if we are looking at the rate of loss of mangroves, these are the percentage of mangroves remaining. So many countries has different success in survive in maintaining their mangrove areas. See, look at the lower bottom. I have put the Kerala scenario separately. Kerala has lost 96% of its mangroves in the last century, and these are the worst performing countries. Philippines, Singapore, Puerto Rico loses its major mangrove areas. And we are losing some mangrove species globally also. And these are some important species which are threatened. And there are a few species of faunal species which are facing extinction. Like hawksbill turtle is critically endangered, which is seen in mangroves. Pygmy three-toed sloths are critically endangered, which is endemic to mangroves. Only 500 individuals are remaining, and dugong, tiger, fishing cats, smooth-coated otters, and all these are all endangered species present in mangroves. Yeah, and when we are coming to the status of mangroves in Kerala, as I told you earlier, Kerala has lost more than 90%, and out of this 21 square kilometer mangrove patches remaining in Kerala, only 4.4 square kilometer is with the forest department, and rest is with the private owners. So the private owners, if they can and they are destructing the mangrove areas, and we are losing mangroves every day in Kerala. So and when we are looking at the status of the protected areas in Kerala, that is another alarming situation. Out of this 4.4 square kilometer, we have only two protected areas actually, like Mangalavanam Bird Sanctuary and Kadalundi Community Reserve. The only sanctuary with mangroves in Kerala is Mangalavanam Bird Sanctuary, and the extent of that sanctuary is just 7 acres, 7 acres only. So that is the condition of mangroves in Kerala, and more than 80% of these mangroves are under private ownership, and no designated law for protection of mangroves in Kerala, and poor enforcement of CRZ laws, and these all has resulted in many devastating issues in Kerala. It has lost 4 true mangrove species from the state, and a few species are on the brink of local extinction. And the major threats of mangroves in Kerala are the urbanization, and the most of these developments across Kerala happens on the coastal belt. If you are traveling in Kerala, you come to know that most of the cities, most of the major towns are in the coastal belt. So the urbanization is and there are these large developmental projects, new roads, railways are all happening on the coastal side, and land reclamation is happening, and 80% of mangroves are under private ownership. And the major threat in Kerala is also shrimp farms. On the left bottom, you can see the photo of one shrimp farm. This is adjacent to our secured area. So this 100 acres, this is 100 acres of shrimp farms near our secured area. So if you are looking at the Kerala scenario, 100 square kilometer, around 100 square kilometer of shrimp farms are there in Kerala, while only 21 square kilometer is the extent of mangroves. So all these shrimp farms are made by cutting mangroves and converting the mangrove ecosystem. So now the extent of shrimp farms is 5 times more than the extent of mangroves in Kerala. And like this photo, you can see the mangroves are filled with with soil, and its land reclamation is happening. This is a last month photo a new developmental project in Kerala. This is the NH widening project. And so this severe issues are happening in Kerala. So that is why WTI started securing mangroves in Kerala in 2006. Then the only protected area in Kerala was this Mangalavanam Bird Sanctuary, which was having only 7 acres. So in 2006, what Wildlife Trust of India did is we purchased 18.65 acres of threatened mangrove lands from private owners. This is to create a compact patch of mangrove forest and protect it. So on the right, you can see 2 photos. These are our secured area. Wildlife Trust of India has secured these mangrove areas from private owners. We purchased from the private owners and we are protecting and securing it. And now, since 2016, we have added more mangrove areas. We are trying to make it to 100 acres of secured mangrove patch in Kerala, in Kannur district of Kerala. So we have achieved 35.87 acres. So the last chunk of patch was purchased the last month in April 13th. We purchased the 92 cents and added to the existing patch. And 2 associated local conservation groups also secured 7 acres of mangroves in just this block. And so we have 42.8 acres of compact mangrove patch in Kerala. So this secured plot is acting as a model for mangrove conservation in Kerala. Now, yeah. So this is the long shot of our secured plot. So Kerala's Kannur district. So this is the mangrove patch. This so see they purchased with and an individual donor wants to be secure for secured mangrove area. You can see this is one in our secured mangrove patch. And we have 10 true mangrove species out of the 18 species of the state, and we have planted 4 threatened mangrove species of Kerala. We have collected seedlings from other areas and planted in this secured area, and we have 13 mammal species in our secured plot. We have wild boars, wild pigs, and we have Indian porcupine. We have civets. You can see the photo. Small Indian civet, common palm civet, and many birds. More than 50 species of birds, and 10 species of reptiles, 24 species of fishes. If you walk through our secured area, you can see large groups of fishlings and fishes in our secured plot. And there are 8 species of crabs in this small patch, and 18 species of mollusks, 61 species of spiders. So in 2016, we established the first mangrove interpretation center near our secured plot. So near our secured mangrove area, we have established our first mangrove interpretation center of the state, and we have established a mangrove trail along the secured plot. We are conducting student research projects. We have established a mangrove nursery and raised 14 species. We have initiated community-based mangrove restoration in 20 locations in the state, and we are imparting the scientific knowledge on the mangrove restoration through various workshops. And apart from that, so we are trying to create a larger like a positive attitude among the local people in Kerala. We have reached out to more than 85,000 people through 275 programs. You can see the street plays. You can see mangrove visits. You can see this is our secured plot. you can see the photo exhibitions we have been conducting. And we are also collaborating with the local panchayats, forest departments, and academic institutions and the governments for creating new policies and enforcing the policies to protect mangroves in the state. So future plans. So when we are looking at, still now there are severe threats across Kerala on mangroves. So we have to expand the project to other parts of Kerala, and we have to scale up. So we have only 35 acres of mangroves now. So for the next 3 years, we are planning to secure at least 30 acres of mangrove lands, and we need a lot of money for that. You know, the land price in Kerala, it is very high, and but not the mangrove areas are slightly less expensive than other areas. So we are planning to purchase another 30 acres in the next 3 years. We wanted to do the mangrove restoration in 45 acres. We wanted to set up a state level mangrove nursery with all the mangrove species of Kerala, and and give the saplings to other agencies and conduct more mangrove restoration. And we are trying to escalate and expand our restoration, our outreach programs, and yeah, trying to expand to other areas of Kerala, and facilitating the formation of new protected areas in Kerala. So these are our future plans for the next 3 years. And yeah, I should also talk about this person, Kalen Pokkudan. So he's from Kannur district of Kerala, who started the mangrove awareness initiatives in Kerala. And you wonder, like, this person has barely got an official barely got any official education. He just went to LP school till his second standard, and he had to drop his studies. So this man uh, was living near the mangroves, and he studied the mangrove ecosystem and its flora and fauna, and started the eco restoration of mangroves in his nearby areas. And that is why we call him as Mangrove Man of India. His name is Kalen Pokkudan, and he has written 2 books on mangroves, and on flora and fauna he has written books in with his vast knowledge. He went to schools and colleges and talked to students and general public, and created awareness, and he expired in 2017. And so yeah, we get our inspiration from him. And thank you. And I don't know whether I took long. So this is the end of the presentation. Sir Mohit sir.
This was absolutely brilliant, Ramit. Last time when we met in Wayanad, you talked about it in detail and you showed me your project, and it was really, really heartening to see. And the kind of knowledge that you imparted in the last 1 hour was phenomenal. I think it was absolutely well drafted. The flow was perfect,
Thank you.
and everybody learned a lot about the mangroves and the plight of Kerala mangroves, which is hair raising. And considering that we've got only 0.2% of India's mangroves here, the threats are large, while the possibilities are large as well. So friends, what I want you to do is um, consider Ramit's request of adding 65 more acres to his project. It cost, what I figured out with him was that it cost 15 lakhs, approximately 15 lakhs an acre. So which is about 20,000 pounds in England, or no, about 15,000 and about $20,000 per acre. If we can buy that land one by one, even if it's crowdfunding, or if you know of various companies who may be wanting to purchase this land for conservation as their corporate social responsibility, or if you can devise methods, please come forward and share your views. And we don't have much time left for all these things. And all these things are possible. There are millions and billions of dollars circulating for technology, for weapons, and for COVID, and for hundreds of things. But at the same time, we've got these lovely mangroves which are lungs to our planet, and we can't let them go off like that, especially when we are so well connected. There was a time when we could not communicate that well. We had to send postcards of 15 paisa each to each one, which would take days to reach. Now there are almost 100 people on this group today listening to him, and and we just need to come forward. So whether you get in touch with him directly, get in touch with me, or write directly to WTI, show your interest, or even if you can't do much yourself, just rack your brains and see how you can network further for his work to go further, and for our mangroves to be saved. And you saw that there are so many benefits with this. So I want people to come forward. Priya, can you just share later when everybody gets a replay link, the coordinates of each one of us and of WTI, so that we can take this further? I'm extremely keen. There are many webinars that I've done which are of quality, where we've succeeded in a whole lot of them, but we've also failed in a lot of them. We wanted to do so many things together, but this is something which is right up my alley, and I want to take this further because it's not a big deal. But it is a big deal when I'm alone or Ramit is alone. When all of you are together, I will see this as a big challenge to get 65 acres on this planet for mangrove conservation, and also to set a benchmark, to also to set an example. Um, how we can save these little patches which are not in forest government control, and they are in the hands of private players, and they'd be happy to sell them at a price. So Bharti is asking, how can we as individuals conserve mangroves and protect them from further damage? That's exactly what I'm talking about, Bharti. That step in, if you've got the time, step in with your time. If you've got the resources, step in with the resources. If you've got the knack and the know-how of networking and exercising your commitment, go ahead and do it. If you want to volunteer there with Ramit, just get there and start helping him out with the local people. There are lots of dimensions. But currently, on this webinar, I'm urging people to step in to get money in to save these little patches of land if we can. Why not? So thank you, Ramit, and thank you, Gaurav. And I'm going to take this further with you two and with everyone who's joined in here. There might be questions, friends. Go ahead and send it to Ramit directly, ramit@wti.org.in. WTI, Wildlife Trust of India, has its direct website, wti.org.in. Priya has shared a link of the donation if you want to pay directly for this project. If you want to know more, go ahead and communicate. Thank you very much, and thank you for your appreciation. Thank you for your time. That shows that everybody's commitment towards conservation. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everyone. Thanks, Ramit.